So you have turned my son to woman, rapper in his own house, Abi.
This girl is our daughter now. Take it easy.
That useless girl, my precious son married, I will teach her a lesson.
She wanted to save her son's marriage. No woman is worthy of my billionaire son, she said. But instead, she destroyed her own. By the time she finished dragging her daughter-in-law, insulting her grandson, and turning her son's house into a war zone, another woman had quietly entered the only place she never guarded, her husband's heart. Watch how a mother-in-law learns the hard way that love without boundaries is not love, it is control. Hey bestie, ready for today's story? You know how life in Africa can be, full of drama, love, and unexpected turns. Today's story is one of those that will make you laugh, think, and maybe even tear up a little. So grab your tea, get comfortable, and let your bestie tell you a story. Don't forget to tell us where you are watching from in the comment, 'cause we'd love to hear what this story meant to you. Amaka sat in front of the mirror while her friend adjusted her gelly for the last time. Her heart was calm. She was not afraid. From the first day she met Tobi, she knew he was not a man of empty words. He was steady. He listened. He kept his promises. Today, those promises were turning into something real. Outside, she heard drums, laughter, people calling her name. It was her wedding day. In a few hours, she would leave her parents' house and follow Tobi fully. She smiled to herself as she remembered the way he always said, "Amaka, don't worry. We will be fine. One step at a time." That quiet confidence was part of what drew her to him. When she walked out to join him, Tobi was already waiting, dressed neatly, standing beside his parents. His eyes met hers and softened. He did not say much, but the way he looked at her made her feel safe. They greeted the elders, knelt for prayers, and followed all the small traditions the families agreed on. Every amen, they said, felt like one more stone laid in the foundation of their new life. Through it all, Mama Tobi's eyes missed nothing. She hugged her son tightly, smiling wide whenever she looked at him. But when her gaze shifted to Amaka, the smile changed. It became short and stiff. She greeted Amaka, but her words carried small hooks. "You're a fine girl," she said, adjusting Amaka's wrapper. "I just hope you know how to keep a fine boy like my Tobi." Amaka forced a small smile. "Yes, Ma. I will do my best." Mama Tobi nodded, but her tone stayed sharp. "Best is not enough these days. Men are not easy. My son is not like other men. I suffered over him. I cannot just drop him in anybody's hand." At the reception, she praised Tobi loudly in front of relatives and friends. "My son is responsible," she said. "From small, he has always respected me. He doesn't play with food and home training. Any woman that wants to be with him must be serious." People laughed and clapped. To them it sounded like normal talk, but Amaka heard the message clearly. "You are on trial." Still, she held her peace. She focused on Tobi, on the way he squeezed her hand under the table whenever their eyes met. They danced together. They cut the cake. They shared food with their parents. By the end of the day, they left as husband and wife, ready to start their life in their small Lagos home. Papa Tobi watched everything from one corner. He was a gentle man, the kind that spoke more with his eyes than with his mouth. He saw the way his wife's smile shifted whenever she faced Amaka. He saw the cold look that passed quickly, then disappeared under a fresh loud laugh. On the way home, when they were alone, he cleared his throat once, then twice, as if he wanted to speak. "Mama Tobi," he said at last, "this girl is our daughter now. Take it easy." She waved her hand. "Leave me, please. I know what I'm doing." He went quiet again. In his heart, he prayed that it truly was nothing, that with time his wife would relax and accept Amaka fully. He hoped that once the wedding noise ended and everyone settled back into normal life, peace would follow them into this new home. He did not know that this was only the beginning. The first weeks after the wedding were simple for Amaka and Tobi. They were not rich, but they were content. They learnt each other's small habits. Tobi liked his rice a bit soft. Amaka liked her stew slightly thick. He liked quiet evenings. She liked talking through her plans. They adjusted slowly, laughing when things went wrong, sharing small inside jokes that no one else knew. On Sundays, they called both families to greet them. Whenever Mama Tobi picked the call, her first question was always the same. "Tobi, are you eating well?" "Yes, Mummy," he would reply. "Amaka is trying." "Trying," she would repeat. "Trying is not enough. I don't want story later." Sometimes she asked to speak with Amaka. "So, Madam Wife," she would say, half joking, half serious, You're now in charge of my son's stomach. Don't let him slim down, oh. I know how I raised him. Amaka would laugh small and answer with respect, but each call left a small weight on her chest. Still, she told herself it was just normal tension. With time, everything would calm down. 2 months after the wedding, on a quiet Saturday, Amaka was in the kitchen cutting vegetables. Tobi had gone to buy a few things at the nearby shop. They were planning a simple meal and a movie after. She hummed softly as she stirred the pot of soup on the gas. Suddenly, she heard a loud knock at the gate, then a familiar voice. Open this gate. Tell them Mama Tobi is here. The security man rushed to open. Before Amaka could even wipe her hands, the front door opened and Mama Tobi stepped in, handbag on her arm, wrapper tied high. She did not call before coming. She did not even wait to be invited in. She looked around like someone checking a room they paid rent for. Good afternoon, Mummy, Amaka said quickly, coming out of the kitchen. Welcome, Ma. You didn't tell us you were coming. Do I need to take permission to visit my own son? Mama Tobi asked. Where is Tobi? He just went to get some things. He will soon come back. Mama Tobi nodded, but she was already looking towards the kitchen. Without asking, she walked straight there. The smell of the soup met her first. You're cooking? She asked. Yes, Ma. I'm making soup. She lifted the lid of the pot and looked inside. Her face changed at once. Huh. So this is what my son is eating now, she said. You call this soup? This thing is like water. Even prisoners will reject it. Amaka's hand tightened on the spoon. She felt her throat burn, but she kept quiet. No wonder he has reduced small, Mama Tobi continued. When I was cooking for his father, the man would lick his fingers. Look at this one. No meat. No strength. No joy. I'm still learning his taste, Ma, Amaka said softly. I'll get better. You better do, Mama Tobi replied. Before my son faints in this house. She dropped her bag on the counter and tied her wrapper tighter, like someone starting work. Move, she said, taking the spoon from Amaka. Let me show you how to cook real soup. Stand there and watch. You will learn. From that day, something shifted. At first, she said she was only coming on Saturdays to help. Then she started arriving on Fridays, saying she would sleep over so she could cook fresh food early. After a while, she no longer called before coming. Her things found one corner in their wardrobe. Her slippers stayed by the door. She knew where every plate and spoon was kept. Anytime Amaka tried to arrange the kitchen her own way, Mama Tobi changed it back. This is my son's kitchen, she would say. I know what is good for him. You are still new here. Amaka smiled on the outside and greeted her with respect. Inside, something small began to bend, little by little, under the weight of a mother who did not know how to let go. At first, Tobi thought his mother's visits would reduce with time. He told himself she was only excited, that she would soon get tired and go back fully to her own home. But the opposite happened. Weeks turned into months. Mama Tobi now had a fixed routine. Monday and Tuesday she would be at her matrimonial home. By Wednesday she was already packing a small bag. I'm going to Tobi's side, she would tell Papa Tobi. I need to check how that girl is running my son's house. Papa Tobi would nod slowly. You were there last week, he would say. Give them chance. They are still young. They need space. But she never listened. Before he finished talking, she would already be tightening her scarf and calling a taxi. Soon, even those 2 days at home began to shrink. Sometimes she stayed in Lagos for a full week, only dropping by the house to pick clothes and leave again. In the evenings, when the noise in the compound died down, Papa Tobi sat alone in the sitting room. The chair beside him stayed empty. The television muttered in the background, but his mind was not on it. He thought of the early years of their marriage, when his wife would sit with him to gist and complain and laugh. Now, even her complaints were happening somewhere else. One night, he picked his phone and dialed her. Mama Tobi, he said. When are you coming home? This place is quiet. She sounded busy. I'm in the kitchen, she replied. I'm cooking for Tobi. That girl does not know how to do anything. I can't leave my son to suffer. Your son is a married man now, he said. Let them learn. You can advise from here. She clicked her tongue. Leave advising. Let me face my son's home. I don't want one small girl to scatter it. If I relax, she will turn his head. He went silent for a moment. And this home in KO? He asked gently. Who will face it? She did not answer that part. I'll come this weekend, she said instead. We will talk later. But when weekend came, she sent a message that she was too busy to come. Back in Lagos, the tension in Tobi and Amaka's house grew quietly. Mama Tobi moved around like it was her own place. She corrected the way Amaka folded clothes. She changed the position of plates. She even decided how much salt went into the food, whether she was the one cooking or not. Sometimes, when Tobi came back from work, he would meet his mother and wife in the kitchen, the air between them tight. Amaka's smile would look forced. Mama Tobi's voice would be just a little louder than normal. "Tobi, welcome," his mother would say. "I came to rescue you. If you see the soup this girl wanted to feed you in." Amaka would lower her eyes, pressing her lips together. "Mummy, the food is fine," Tobi would say carefully. "Amaka is trying. I like her cooking." Mama Tobi would laugh it off. "You're just talking because she is here. I know you. You don't like stress. Don't worry, I am here now." Tobi did not like argument. Many times he wanted to say more, to tell his mother to slow down, to allow his wife breathe. But each time he opened his mouth, the words felt heavy. He didn't want to be seen as a bad son. He didn't want his mother to call him ungrateful. So he picked the easiest path. He kept quiet. At night, when he and Amaka lay on the bed, she would ask small questions. "Did I do something wrong?" she would whisper. "Maybe your mum doesn't like me." "She will get used to you," Tobi would reply. "Just be patient. Everything will balance." He meant well, but his silence in front of his mother told a different story. In Mama Tobi's mind, his lack of strong words meant agreement. She took it as a sign that she was right, that she was the only one who truly knew what was good for her son. And slowly, without shouting or fighting, one thing became clear. Tobi was no longer the only man of the house. His home now had 2 women and 1 voice trying to control everything. The months moved slowly in that divided peace. Outside, everything looked normal. Inside, Amaka carried a small fear in her heart each time she heard Mama Tobi's voice at the door. Still, she tried her best. She cooked. She cleaned. She smiled. She told herself that if she loved Tobi well enough, things would change. Then one morning, she woke up feeling strange. Her stomach turned. The smell of stew from the previous day made her rush to the bathroom. It happened again the next day, and the next. At first, she thought it was just food, but when her monthly flow did not come, she bought a test. The result was clear. She sat on the bed, staring at it, her hand shaking. A baby. She placed a hand on her stomach and smiled through small tears. When Tobi came back that evening, she waited until he finished bathing, then called him into the room. "I have news," she said, her voice low. He looked worried. "Good or bad?" She held up the test. "We're expecting." For a moment, he just stared. Then his whole face broke into a wide smile. He pulled her into a hug. "Amaka," he whispered, "thank you. God bless you. You don't know how happy I am." They prayed together, hands joined. That night, sleep came with hope. But the pregnancy was not easy. By the 3rd month, Amaka could barely eat. Simple smells made her sick. Her body felt heavy. Some days, just standing up from the bed took all her strength. The things she used to do without thinking now felt like a full day's work. Tobi noticed. He started waking up earlier to sweep. After work, he would pass by the market to buy small things. Some evenings, he entered the kitchen to cook simple meals so Amaka could rest. If she tried to stand up, he would say, "Sit down. I'll handle it. You and the baby are my first assignment now." The first day Mama Tobi saw him washing plates, her eyes almost fell out. "Tobi, what is this?" she asked, pointing at the sink. "You are here washing plate in your own house? Where is your wife?" "She is lying down," he replied. "She is not feeling strong." Mama Tobi hissed. "Not feeling strong, how? Is she the first woman to be pregnant?" "Mummy, it's not like that," Tobi said. "This one is hard for her. She vomits a lot. The doctor said she should rest." Mama Tobi folded her arms. Doctor said, when I was carrying you, I was going up and down. I was cooking, washing, doing everything in this same condition. I didn't use pregnancy as excuse." Later that week, she met Amaka on the couch, half lying, half sitting, one hand on her stomach. "So this is how you spend your day now?" she asked loudly. "Lying down like madam." "I'm trying, Mummy," Amaka said weakly. "I feel dizzy if I stand too long." "Dizzy," Mama Tobi repeated. "Lazy is the word. Lazy and spoilt. See how my son is running up and down like houseboy. You have turned him to maid." Tobi came out of the room just in time to hear that last part. He wiped his hands on a towel and faced his mother. "Mummy, please," he said, his voice calm but firm. "Stop saying that." She turned to him, shocked. "Stop saying what?" That my son is suffering. I'm not suffering, he replied. I am helping my wife. She is carrying my child, she is not lazy. Let her rest. For a moment, the room was quiet. Mama Tobi stared at him as if she did not know him. So now you're talking to me like this because of a woman, she said slowly. No, Mummy, he answered. I am talking like this because she is my wife. That night, when the house was quiet, Amaka lay on her side, facing the wall. Tears slipped down her face. Part of her cried from the sharp pain in her back, the constant sickness that left her weak. The other part cried from a different place, deep, soft, grateful. Tobi moved closer and wiped her cheek. Sorry, he whispered. I'm here. You're not alone. She nodded, unable to speak. For the first time in a long while, she felt both broken and held at the same time. The months that followed were not easy, but they moved. Little by little, the baby grew. Amaka counted each kick like a small promise. Some days she could walk around. Other days she stayed in bed and just held Tobi's hand. He kept his word. He cooked, cleaned, and prayed over her and the child she carried. One night, when the pregnancy was almost due, a sharp pain woke her. It was not like the usual pain. This one came in waves, strong and serious. She held her stomach and called Tobi's name. He jumped up at once. Is it time? He asked. I think so, she whispered. He helped her dress quickly and rushed her to the hospital. The hours that followed felt long. Nurses moved in and out. Amaka cried, prayed, and squeezed Tobi's hand until his fingers hurt. He did not complain. He only said, You can do it. I'm here. After a while, the sound they had been waiting for filled the room. Congratulations, the nurse said, smiling. It's a girl. When they placed the babies in Amaka's arms, she forgot every pain for a moment. Their child had small and soft, eyes closed, mouth searching. Her heart felt full. Tobi stood over them, almost in tears. Amaka, he said slowly, you are strong. Thank you. Thank you for carrying her. Thank you for not giving up. He kissed her forehead gently and touched the baby's tiny finger. This is my princess, he said. You have given me more than I asked for. They stayed like that for a while, quiet and happy, just the two of them and the child. But peace did not last. Later that day, loud footsteps sounded in the corridor, followed by a sharp, familiar voice. Where is my son's wife? Where is my grandchild? Tobi closed his eyes for a second. Mummy is here, he muttered. Mummy, please, he said as she reached the door. She's still resting. Take it easy. Mama Tobi pushed the door open and stepped inside without waiting. Her eyes went straight to the two small cots. A girl? She asked, shocked. You mean it's a girl? Yes, Ma, Tobi replied slowly. It's a girl. Her face changed at once. So after all this you're resting and forming sick. This is what you gave my son. A girl? Not even one boy. Useless luck. Amaka held her baby closer and turned her face away, shame and pain mixing inside her. The baby slept in the cot, unaware of the words flying over her head. Mummy, please, Tobi said. Don't talk like that. This is my child. She is our child. Our child how? Mama Tobi shouted. Who will carry the family name? Who will stand as first son? I told you this girl is not your match. Now see. She has closed your lineage with a girl child. The nurse at the corner shifted uncomfortably. Mummy, it's okay, she said softly. This is a maternity ward. Mama Tobi ignored her. She moved closer to the bed, still talking. You, she pointed at Amaka. You think you have tried ABI? You wasted time, used pregnancy to sleep in that house, and this is what you brought out. Amaka's eyes filled with tears. She was too weak to argue. Her body still ached. Her head felt heavy. She just held her baby tighter and pressed her lips together. Something in Mama Tobi snapped. She leaned forward and, before anyone could stop her, her hand landed hard on Amaka's cheek. The sound echoed in the small room. The baby woke up and started crying at once. The nurse gasped. Madam, she shouted, rushing to stand between them. Tobi froze for half a second, then heat rushed to his face. Mummy, he roared, louder than anyone had ever heard him. That is enough. His whole body shook as he stepped between his mother and the bed. If you ever touch my wife again, he said, voice firm and clear, you will not see me or this child again. Ever. Mama Tobi stared at him, shocked. No one had spoken to her like that before. The nurse picked up the crying baby and tried to calm her. Amaka's tears now flowed freely, not only from the pain of the slap, but from the weight of everything that moment had shown her. How far a mother's fear could go, and how far her husband was finally ready to stand. The hospital room stayed tense long after Mama Tobi left. The nurse checked Amaka again, then quietly advised Tobi to keep stress away from his wife for now. When things calmed a little, and the baby finally slept, Tobi stepped out into the corridor with his phone. He stood near the wall and dialed his father's number. It rang twice before Papa Tobi picked. "Tobi, how far? Has she delivered?" his father asked. "Yes, sir," Tobi replied. "It's a girl." Papa Tobi laughed softly. "Ah, God is good. How is Amaka?" Tobi swallowed. His voice shook when he spoke again. "Daddy, there is a problem." He told him everything. How his mother burst into the ward, shouted about boys and girls, called the babies useless luck, and then raised her hand and slapped Amaka in front of the nurse. On the other side of the line, Papa Tobi went quiet. Tobi could hear only his breathing. "Daddy, are you there?" he asked. "I'm here," his father said at last, voice low. "She did all that? In the hospital?" "Yes, sir." There was another long pause. Then Papa Tobi spoke again. "Tell her to come home," he said slowly. "Tell your mother I said she should come back to this house. I want to see her." "Yes, sir," Tobi replied. He cut the call and sent his mother a short message. "Daddy says you should come home. He wants to see you." Mama Tobi did not reply at once, but later that day, she left the hospital without a word and went back to her own house. When she entered, she met Papa Tobi sitting in the parlor. The TV was on, but the volume was low. His glasses were on the table. He did not look like he had been watching anything. He looked up as she came in. "So you're back," he said quietly. "Yes, I came," she answered, dropping her bag on a chair. "I heard my son has given a beautiful princess." Papa Tobi didn't smile. "Sit down," he said. She frowned. "What is all this now? Can't I rest first? I just came from the hospital. That girl has stressed me enough." "Sit down," he repeated, this time with a tone that made her obey. She sat, arms crossed. "I just spoke to Tobi," he began. "He told me what you did in that hospital." She hissed. "So he has started reporting me now? I'm his mother. I have the right to talk in his life." "Talk?" Papa Tobi's voice rose slightly. "Is it talk you call it? You went to where a woman just gave birth, and you insulted her. You abused your own grandchild because it's a girl. Then you raised your hand and slapped her. In front of strangers. In front of nurses. She gave him a girl," Mama Tobi snapped. "Is that not enough reason to be angry? How can my only son not have a boy? That girl will finish him. She has already turned him against me. You heard how he spoke to me. She didn't turn him against you," Papa Tobi said firmly. "You are the one pushing him away with your mouth. With this same attitude." She stood up, pacing. "So you two have joined them. It's now two of you on one side and me on the other, ABI? Everybody is defending Amaka. Nobody is thinking of me." "I am thinking of peace," he replied. "You left your own marriage to go and fight for another person's home. You forgot the line. A mother is supposed to bless, not control. See where your pride has brought you." She opened her mouth, then closed it. "You disgraced that girl," he continued. "You disgraced yourself. You disgraced me. That child you called useless luck? They are your blood. Your grandchild. If you continue like this, one day your son will lock his door, and you will stand outside knocking." He leaned forward. "Let me warn you today before it is too late. If you don't calm down, you will lose both your son and your husband. I will not follow you in this your fight. Choose sense now, while you still have people to come back to." Papa Tobi's words stayed in the air long after he finished talking. For the first time, Mama Tobi did not have a quick reply. She felt the weight of his warning, but pride covered it like a thick cloth. She told herself he was only talking like that because of Amaka. She went to bed that night angry, but in her heart, a small fear had started. Still, fear is not the same as change. Within a few days, she packed her small traveling bag again. "I'm going back to Tobi's side," she said. "That child need proper grandmother. I can't leave my son with that girl." Papa Tobi watched her from the chair. "Remember what I said," he replied. "Don't go and scatter their peace again." She waved him off. "I'm only going to help," she said, and left. Back in Lagos, Amaka was trying to build a new rhythm. The child was still very small, but she was stronger now. Her body was slowly recovering. Nights were short and broken, but she took each day as it came. Tobi helped as much as he could before and after work. One morning, she woke up earlier than usual. The child had just gone back to sleep after feeding. She looked at Tobi, still lying tired on the bed, and felt a small rush of love. He had been pulling his own weight since the pregnancy, even when his mother complained. Let me do something nice today, she thought. She moved quietly to the kitchen and started cooking yam porridge, the way he liked it. Soft, with enough vegetables and fish. As she stirred, she hummed under her breath. For the first time in a long while, she felt light. Maybe today would be calm. Maybe Mama Tobi would not appear. Maybe just for one day it would be only them. She had just finished dishing the food into a bowl when she heard a key in the front door. Her heart dropped a little. Only 2 people had keys, Tobi and his mother. Mummy is here. Tobi's voice came from the sitting room, mixed with surprise and caution. Before Amaka could answer, Mama Tobi's voice entered the kitchen. So this is where you are, she said. What are you even cooking? Amaka turned, forcing a small smile. Good morning, Mummy. I made yam porridge for Tobi. Mama Tobi walked to the gas, bent over the pot and sniffed. Yam porridge, she repeated. So this is what my son eats now. Baby food. Amaka's smile faded. He likes it, Ma. I woke up early to do it. Early to do nonsense, Mama Tobi snapped. She grabbed the bowl from the counter, carried it to the sink and, before Amaka could move, poured everything away. The hot yam hit the sink and scattered. Mummy, Amaka gasped, hand flying to her chest. I worked on that since morning. Then work harder, Mama Tobi said, dropping the empty bowl. If you want to keep a man, you won't be feeding him this soft food. Cook real food. Learn sense. My son is not your mate. For a moment, the whole house felt like it stopped. From the room, one of the child started crying, then the other joined. Their small voices rose and filled the quiet. Amaka stood in the kitchen, staring at the sink. Her hands were shaking. Her chest burned. She could feel tears pushing hard behind her eyes. Her first instinct was to burst out, to shout, to ask why. Why was nothing she did ever enough? Why did her own good heart feel like a curse in this house? But something inside her held her back. She took a slow breath. 1, 2, 3. Then, without a word, she picked up a rag and wiped the side of the sink. She washed her hands under the tap and dried them. The tears that had gathered did not fall. They sat there, hot and steady. In that small, simple action, something in her shifted. She knew she could not stop Mama Tobi from coming. She could not control her words. But she could control how she answered. I won't be a quiet victim again, she said inside herself. I will not fight with noise. I will use my head. I will protect my home. The child cried louder. She turned and walked to their room, not as the frightened girl who entered this house months ago, but as a woman who had made a decision. From that day, her silence was no longer fear. It was planning, and her tears, when they came, were not from defeat, but from a heart getting ready to stand. The days after Amaka's quiet decision moved in a different way. She did not argue with Mama Tobi anymore. When she was insulted, she answered with short, clear words or did not answer at all. She stopped trying to prove herself. Instead, she put her strength into Tobi, the child, and a small idea that grew in her heart. With the help of a women's support group she joined in church, Amaka started a small outreach for mothers who had just given birth and did not have much. They gathered little things, baby clothes, soap, small food items, and shared when they could. One of the women in the group stood out. Her name was Ada. She was calm, always listening more than she spoke, and she gave quietly without making noise. When it was time to plan the child dedication, Tobi sat with Amaka at the dining table. Let's keep it small, he said. Just family, a few neighbors, and some people from church. That's fine by me, Amaka replied. I don't have strength for big crowd. But as soon as Mama Tobi heard about the dedication, the plan started to change. Small how? She asked over the phone. Child are not a small thing. People must come and see what God has done. Leave it for me. I will handle everything. Before they could answer, she began calling caterers, decorator, MC. She chose the food, fixed the guest list, and even decided where people should sit. On the day of the dedication, the compound was busy. Children ran about. Men stood in small groups talking, women arranged chairs. The MC tested his microphone. From every corner, Mama Tobi's voice carried. No, put that cooler here. Tobi, tell that man to move his car. Amaka, are you still sitting? Go and bring water for guests. Do you want them to say your side is dull? Amaka held the child and smiled politely. Inside, she was tired, but she kept her peace. She did what needed to be done and left the rest. Around midday, a car stopped outside. Papa Tobi stepped down, dressed simply. He walked in slowly, looking around as if he was entering a place that used to belong to him, but now felt distant. Amaka saw him, and her face brightened. "Daddy, you came," she said, going to greet him. She knelt a little, and he placed his hand on her shoulder. "How will I not come?" he replied. "This child is my grandchild." Beside Amaka stood Ada, holding a small gift bag. "Daddy, there's someone I want you to meet," Amaka said. "This is Sister Ada from my women's group. She has been supporting our small charity for mothers and child." Ada smiled and greeted him with respect. "Good afternoon, sir," she said. "It is good to finally meet you. Amaka talks about you." Papa Tobi nodded and smiled back. "Thank you for standing by her," he said. "God will stand by you too." Amaka led them to a quieter corner, away from the main noise. She gave them seats and excused herself to attend to guests. Soon, conversation started between the two of them. It flowed easily, without stress. Ada asked about his work, his hobbies, his thoughts. He found himself opening up, sharing stories he had not told anyone in a long time. After a while, he laughed at something she said. It was not a small, careful laugh. It was free. His shoulders, always tight, seemed to drop a little. For the first time in many months, he felt noticed, not as Papa Tobi, but as a man. On the other side, Mama Tobi was still moving up and down, arranging people, correcting the MC's jokes, giving orders. "Play that other song," she told the DJ. "No, not that one. This one fits better. Everyone should know this is my grandchild's day." She did not look once towards the corner where her husband sat with Ada. She did not see the way his eyes softened when he listened to her. She did not hear his laughter. As she moved around, tightening her wrapper and raising her voice, she believed everything in that house still turned around her. She did not know that, by trying to control her son's home, she had quietly opened a space in her own husband's life. A space another woman's calm presence was now filling with peace. News of the dedication spread and died down, but something from that day did not leave Papa Tobi's mind. The sound of Ada's calm voice stayed with him. The way she listened without rushing him. The way she asked, "Daddy, how are you really?" and waited for a real answer. He started calling her once in a while to ask how the women's group was doing, how the charity was moving. She would update him, ask about his health, check on his blood pressure, remind him to rest. Sometimes she passed by with Amaka to drop items for the outreach, and they would sit and talk for a short time. Slowly, the emptiness in his own house reduced. The silence that used to press on his chest felt lighter. After years of feeling like extra in his own marriage, he finally felt seen. Months later, early one morning, he sat with his phone in his hand and made a decision. It was time to speak plainly. He called Tobi. "My son," he said, "I want a family meeting. You, your wife, the child, and your mother. All of you should come home this weekend. Is everything okay?" Tobi asked. "We will talk when you come," Papa Tobi replied. When Tobi told her, Mama Tobi's first feeling was pride. "Good," she said. "Your father has finally come to his senses. He knows I am the one fighting for this family. Let him gather everybody. I will talk." On the day of the meeting, she dressed in her best lace, gold earrings, matching shoes, everything shining. As Tobi drove, Amaka sat at the back with the child. Mama Tobi talked almost the whole way. "Don't worry," she told Tobi. "I will tell your father everything that girl has been doing. He will warn her. This nonsense will end today." Amaka kept quiet, holding one twin and rocking her gently. When they got to the house, the sitting room was already arranged. Chairs in a circle. Drinks on the center table. Papa Tobi stood near the doorway. Beside him was Ada, dressed simply, nothing loud, just neat. "Good afternoon," Amaka greeted, bending a little. "You're welcome," he answered. Tobi greeted his father. Then his eyes moved to Ada. He recognized her at once. His heart beat faster. "Mummy, good afternoon," Ada said softly, greeting Mama Tobi with respect. Mama Tobi's smile was tight. "Afternoon," she replied. She looked from Ada to her husband and back again. "What is going on here?" "Sit down," Papa Tobi said. His voice was calm, but there was no room for argument. Everyone sat. The child made small sounds on Amaka's lap, then settled. "Thank you for coming," Papa Tobi began. "I called this meeting because I want everybody to hear what I have to say at once. No twisting. No second version." The room was quiet. He moved closer to Ada. "This is Ada," he said. "You all know her. Today I want to tell you something clearly. Ada is pregnant for me." The words dropped like stone. For a moment, nobody moved. Tobi's eyes widened. Amaka held her breath. Ada looked down at her hands. Mama Tobi stared, as if she did not hear him well. Pregnant for who? She asked. For you? What kind of joke is this, Sam? I'm not joking, he replied. I lived alone in this house for too long. You left me to chase another woman's home. You gave your time, your energy, your mouth to Toby's house and forgot you had your own husband. I begged you to come back. I warned you. You refused. So this is your revenge? She said, voice shaking. You went to carry woman because of that girl? No, he said quietly. I went to look for rest. Ada did not enter this family with noise. She entered with peace. She listens. She honors me. She has not dragged you with me for one day. It is you that left space. The fine lace on Mama Tobi's body suddenly felt heavy and hot. For the first time, she looked properly at Ada, not as one of Amaka's women, but as another woman in her own husband's life. A woman standing in the place she abandoned. She swallowed hard. The house that used to revolve around her no longer felt like hers. Her voice, that always controlled everything, felt small. In that moment, her pride broke a little. She saw clearly what she had lost, not just power in her son's house, but love and respect in her own. For days after the family meeting, Mama Tobi moved like someone whose shadow had left her. She went back to her own house with Papa Tobi, but nothing felt the same. The chair that used to feel like a throne now felt like just ordinary plastic. The bed felt wide. The walls felt strange. Papa Tobi did not shout. He only told her plain words. I didn't break this home, he said. You did. You left it empty while you were busy fighting in another woman's house. Those words followed her around the rooms. A week later, very early in the morning, she tied one simple wrapper, wore old slippers, and picked her bag. No lace. No gold. No perfume. She took a bus to Toby's area, walked the short distance to the flat, and stood at the door for a long time before knocking softly. Amaka was inside, dressing one of the child. She heard the knock and thought it was delivery or neighbor. She opened the door and froze. Mummy. Mama Tobi looked smaller, like someone had removed something from her chest. Her eyes were swollen, her face bare. Good morning, she said quietly. Can I come in? Amaka stepped aside. Yes, Ma. Please come in. Inside, the child were on their mat, kicking and making small sounds. As soon as Mama Tobi saw them, her legs almost gave way. She went close and knelt beside them, her hand shaking as she touched one tiny foot. These are the same child I called useless, she said, her voice breaking. My own blood. Tears rolled down her face. Amaka stood there, unsure what to do. Mummy, please sit on the chair, she said gently. Mama Tobi sat, wiped her eyes with the edge of her wrapper, and looked straight at Amaka. I came to ask for your forgiveness, she said. Not because anybody forced me, but because I finally see myself. I fought you, not because you did wrong, but because I didn't know how to let go of my son. She swallowed and continued. I told myself I was protecting him, but it was not protection. It was control. I wanted to remain the only woman in his life. I wanted his house to still answer to my voice. I forgot that he is a man, not a small boy. Amaka's eyes filled with tears. I insulted you, Mama Tobi went on. I poured your food away. I scattered your peace. I even raised my hand against you after you gave birth. I called these child bad names. Nothing you did deserved that. It was my pride. It has cost me more than I ever thought. She reached out her hand, slow and careful. Please, my daughter, she said, holding Amaka's fingers gently. Promise me something. When your own children grow up and bring their wives home, don't become the kind of mother-in-law I was. Love them, but give them space. Advise them, but don't choke them. Protect your home, so you will not end up alone like me, sitting in a quiet house and wishing you had behaved better. Amaka wiped her face with the back of her hand. I promise, Mummy, she said. I won't forget. I'll remember how this felt. I'll leave space for them to build their own home. Mama Tobi nodded slowly. She looked at the child again and smiled through her tears. See this girl, she whispered. Let them grow up in peace. That is the best gift you can give them. Better than land. Better than money. Amaka bent slightly. I forgive you, Mummy, she said softly. Let's try again. Different this time. The child laughed at something only she understood. The sound was small, but it cut through the heavy air. And so the story settled on one simple truth. A mother is meant to raise a boy into a man who can build his own home, not keep him as a little child under her apron. Love your son. Respect his wife. Know when to step back. That is how peace remains in a family, and how a woman keeps both her home and her heart. Wow, bestie, that one touched deep, didn't it? Life really has a funny way of teaching us lessons through people we least expect. If you felt this story like I did, drop it in the comments. And don't forget, your bestie's got more stories coming your way, so hit subscribe and stay close. Till next time, stay kind, stay real, and stay my bestie. Because you know your bestie never runs out of stories.